So, hi Becca. This is a quick little video about just your work that you have and how you can use Photoshop to color it. What I like a lot here is the pencil texture that you have. So what I suggest is that you scan these in. Scan them in at 300 dpi so that your image size, if you go to image size, it's going to be a little better. Alright, so let's talk about coloring this. There's a few ways you can do that. The first way is I'm just going to make a new layer. I'm going to pick a color. Say you want to have like purple color. And I'm going to fill. So Option Delete to fill. Now let's change the mode. I'm going to change it to screen. So right away we see that the color on here is blending in with the line work layer. So let's call this line work layer. And this is the color layer. So that's one way. It's super simple. And then from here, if you wanted to color more, you could create a new layer. You know, it's good if you have window, go to window and swatches. You can start to choose a color palette. I'm going to take the brush tool now, and you can just do some large areas of color, kind of loosely. And then from there, you can play with the blending mode. Maybe you want to set this to multiply. You can change the opacity. You can use erasers with the eraser tool. If you go up here, you have different kinds of eraser tools. I really like this pastel medium tip. To get different erasers, you're going to go to this gear, and then you're gonna see different ones in CC. But if you want to access the legacy brushes, it'll say access the legacy brushes. I really like these dry media right here, dry media brushes, and I like to use them to erase with. You can make your eraser like really big, and that adds some texture to your work. You know, you could do something like this. So right away, I've just put in some really easy coloring. You could do some like highlights. And I'm working on the same layer, but I could actually do this, and then I could change the layer mode. Really, I would play with these layer modes because they are crazy and each one does something, and it's just a really fun way to like experiment with stuff, and then you can kind of go from there. But I guess he has yellow hair. So that's a really quick way to just put in some coloring. And what's great is you can still see all the lovely pencil textures. I'll show you another way, which is a little more complicated, and we're going to try to remove the paper. So if you have a good quality scan, it's going to work a little better. I'm going to go to Image Mode Grayscale to make it grayscale. I'm going to discard all the color information. Then I'm going to go to Image Adjustment Levels, which is also Command L. And we're just going to clean this up a little bit. There's a black arrow, a gray one, and a white. So I'm going to take the white one, bring it in. My goal here is to make the white of the paper really, to work on the white of the paper and just get it to be white. And, you know, the quality of your scan really makes a difference. So that's all right for now. I can also just try a little bit harder and like erase some areas. Now I'm going to go to Window and Channels, and it gives you this box. I'm going to press Command, and see how when I press Command and my mouse is in this thumbnail area, I click, what happened is it selects all the white. I'm going to go to my layer and I'm going to press delete. And what happened was it just deleted all the white areas. So now this layer, let's call it line work. This is now only pixels on here are the line work and there's no paper anymore. Let's give it a background color. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to fill with the background color, which is Command Delete. Let's move this down so this is white. So now you can see it took a little bit out of the drawing, and that's just because it wasn't a good scan, it was a photo. Why don't we duplicate this? So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say duplicate. And I'll say OK. See how it gets darker? I can also do Command J for a quick duplication. So you'll notice that the line work gets a little bit darker when I have the same layer on top of it. So I like that darkness. Let's select multiple and merge it together. Shift click to select more than one. Right click, merge layers. Now we have the line work that is separated from the white of the paper. Because the only pixels on here are your line work, this makes it pretty simple to put color in. I'm going to show you a way that a lot of people use, which is with a clipping mask. I'm going to make a new layer. And we need to change this image mode back to RGB in order to work with color now, because it was grayscale, which made it easier. Grayscale makes it easier to adjust the whites and the darks in order to remove the paper, but now we want to work in color. RGB color, don't merge. Make sure you press don't merge, otherwise what's the point of removing the line work from the paper? Let's get a color. Window swatches. So say I want the line work to be brown instead of black. I'm going to fill with my foreground color, Option Delete. This fills everywhere on my new layer. What I'm going to do now is do a clipping mask. I'm going to press Option. So my mouse is in between the two layers. I'm pressing Option and I'm going to click. This does not look so good. So this is how I would attach this as a clipping mask, and it looks like really strange to me. So why don't we we could do a lot of things here. Let's change the mode from normal to screen. That looks better. So this is blending a little better. And what's super cool about using a clipping mask is I could use any color, and I'm painting on the clipping mask layer now, not on my line work layer. And I could actually have areas that are black. I could change my brush that I'm painting with. Let's go up here and let's take hardness 0, which means that I'm painting with an airbrush. So that gives you soft edges. So we could use yellow so darker colors for line work are usually gonna look a little bit better. But this gives you the ability to paint in different colors. And this is a little more freeform. It's less like plates of color and more a little like painting. So it kind of depends like your style of working. And then what's also cool is I could take this layer and I could actually move it around too, which is crazy. Alright, so that's just like two really fast ways to add color to your beautiful graphite drawings. And then another thing you could do is, instead of this being white on a white background, we can give it like a warm color. So I'm gonna pick a warmer color. Option delete is gonna fill, and remember to be on the right layer when you do that. I could make a new layer. Let's fill that one with white and put that below. Let's take this one, and then you can play around with the opacities. And the more you play around with opacity, the more sophisticated your color layering is going to become. All right, I hope that was helpful. I hope it was inspiring, and I hope that you take your drawings, scan them, and play around in Photoshop before you don't have it anymore.